When it comes to your career and your leadership here at Bloomfield College in the athletic department, is making it a family something that you deliberately did or just kind of happened that way? Like, what's your philosophy as a leader?
Well, I think it started with Al Restaino Sr., who I called him Coach, was the former athletic director, sort of taught me, working in the department under him as assistant AD, that you have to get to know the people that you work with and make it fun for them, because we spend more time at work than we do in our own personal lives. And so Coach was so cute because he could be sweet as can be, but he was really tough, you know? And so I always said, I want to make an environment that I want to come to work and be happy in. I don't want to feel stressed. I don't want to, feel angry. I wanted to be a leader that led by example of kindness, hard work, and, be ethical in what we do and serving our students. And so I think it just sort of formed its way into that, and mostly because there were some people that fit in the equation and then there were some that didn't. I am probably as competitive as most people, and so we wanted to win. We wanted to establish good programs, but at the same time, I wanted good people that really care for the student athletes, because that's who we serve. So.
We talk about that competitive nature, that competitive spirit. Take us back a little bit to your playing days here at Bloomfield College, because when we talk about you administratively and as a leader, your history and your legacy is interwoven as well as a student and a student athlete here. So when you talk about competition and being competitive, talk a little bit about your playing days and how you were on the court when you came here to Bloomfield College.
So, little old first generation girl from Atlantic City, New Jersey, played for a really good high school program. Our women's program, my senior year, won the state championship. I was team captain. Was not a highlight on the team, although I started and played all 4 years. We had some really great players in our program. And so I always felt like initially, maybe I'm not as strong of a player as some of those people, but my senior year, I think I started to come into my own. And when I arrived at Bloomfield, it was a new program. It had only been established a couple years. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to give it my all. And I am competitive. I'm the oldest of 6. I'm competitive in playing games, everything. I can't sing, but if I could sing, I probably would be, more competitive in that. But I just love the game of basketball, and so it just became easy for me. But I did not want to lose, and I wanted us to be the best. And, we had a great team. I met some really great people during my time. And so every time I hit that court, it was about doing my business. I was an undersized number 5, and I played the forward, the center, but I was competitive as they can be.
Yeah. So we also know during that period of time here at school, you met your sweetheart, your husband here. If you think back to those times and those days, do you remember that first moment when you kind of noticed him, or when he noticed you? Was it on the court, off the court, walking on the quad? Like, when was that first moment that you and Vince kind of?
I'm almost embarrassed to tell this story, but it was move-in day for me. He was a part of the EOF program, so he had been here for the 6 weeks during the summer before I came to Bloomfield and moved in that August. But it was move-in day, and I saw him, and immediately I told my sister, I said, oh, that's going to be my husband right there. And I had a boyfriend, so it was sort of funny, but who knew that we became friends? He happened to be very good friends with my roommate, so he would come and visit our room. And I think just, we sort of got to become friends and liked each other, and here we are 40 years later, 36 married, actually 7 years before that. So it was probably love at first sight, I guess. Is that what you call it?
Mm-hmm. Aw, such a sweet story. Since you met him here and you graduated, talk about the transition from you guys going together, going steady, that transition from that to then being a married couple, and then also you taking on your career and your first position here at Bloomfield College. Like, how did that all kind of come together?
Because I was in love, and from South Jersey and my husband's from North Jersey, I decided my first job I applied to was the resident director in Clee Hall at Bloomfield, and because I wanted to stay up north, to continue my relationship with my husband. I could have easily gone back to South Jersey and tried to figure it out, but I did like it up here. It was different from Atlantic City. And so in getting that job, I then later became an assistant coach, as well as working as an EOF counselor here for 3 years, and I was the RD for 3 years. And so Vince and I still continue, to date each other, and it's nice when you find someone who has the same goals that you have, and both are working towards, building a life together. And I just happen to be very blessed that happened for us. And, in working here, we eventually got engaged, and then a year later, we, were married. So.
Nice. So now with your career side, did you apply for the job to become, I think you started out as the assistant AD or the assistant to coach?
Yes.
To coach?
So I had been working for an organization named Inroads, help college students secure internships at a lot of the Fortune 500 companies at that time. I had transitioned there from EOF, and Mr. Restaino was in need of an assistant AD, and he called me and said, hey, do you know anyone that would be interested? But really, would you be interested? And I said, no, I don't know if I would be interested because, athletic background administration was not something that, I was thinking about, interested in. I had always wanted to be a counselor. And he said to me, if you come, I will teach you everything that you need to know about the business. And so I applied and actually was selected for the job. Terrified. Part of the job also was to be the women's volleyball coach. And the program had only been around for a year. And so I was like, Coach, I don't really know a lot about coaching volleyball, although I had played my last 2 years at Bloomfield. They had just started, tried to have a little program, and then it fell through and then started back up. And so he said, you can go to some workshops, go to some clinics, you'll learn. And so I went to the library, I got all sorts of books, and we started the program. And so I was assistant AD / women's volleyball coach. And when he told me I was going to learn everything, I learned everything. We did not have any full-time coaches except for myself. Everyone that coached at that time was part-time. There was coach as athletic director, myself assistant AD, and we had a part-time secretary, Dot Torres. And so I did everything from laundry to gas in the vans to academic stuff, checking grades, to running intramurals. You name it, I did it. And I look back sometimes, and I didn't have my first child yet, but I said, how did I do all this, But I learned all of the business, and I owe a lot of that again to Mr. Restaino, because I would have never learned as much as I learned in that time period. And I think it was maybe close to 10 years that I was his assistant AD.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Before becoming athletic director.
So now he retired, and then
he retired, and I did not think I was going to get the athletic director's job. So I then transitioned to NJIT as assistant AD volleyball coach, and the job was open, and I was very fortunate that Bob Essler at the time, who was the vice president, CFO, called me and said, we've been interviewing people, but we think that you're the person that we really want in the position. And so I then left NJIT and came back and became athletic director. And I think that was in 2000, I don't know. I'm making up years now. Time gets away from you. I think it was 2000 or either 1999, that's when it was.
Okay.
Maybe
okay.
1999.
So now, becoming the athletic director, I mean, even today when you look at the landscape of college athletics, you can pretty much know or tell how many female African-American athletic directors there are. But I can imagine in 1999 when you took over 2000, being a pioneer in a sense here in North Jersey, becoming the athletic director here at Bloomfield College, did you feel any kind of pressure? Did you feel pride? How were you feeling when you became the athletic director?
I'm scared, to be transparent, because it's like, okay, this is a big job, can you do it? And I never doubted myself. It was just trying to make sure I did it the right way. Two things that I think stand out for me when I think about that first year was, one, building relationships with good people that were good fits, and two, being fair. It wasn't about being an athletic director who was a female and only catered to the female sports. And it wasn't about, only catering to the men's sports because that's what you're supposed to do. Everyone was going to be treated the same in my mind. And I felt like if we did that, we could build something successful. I feel like I carry myself in a way, even at a young age, that I'm very strong. I don't have a problem speaking my mind, and those that know me know that about me. But at the same time, I always felt like, there were people that supported me and helped me, and there were colleagues from other institutions, and people are always supportive. But again, my competitive spirit, I love the support, but I want to beat people too, because I wanted our program to be successful. And I think, we had some really good years over my 20 whatever years, and I'm very, very thankful for that.
We want to touch a little bit about some of the challenges you may have faced during that time. You were a wife and also became a mom, right? So now you have your two daughters with you. Like, what were those times like? Like, did you have to find a babysitter? Did they come to work with you? Like, what were those years like?
So, when I first became athletic director, I'm laughing because I also was still coaching volleyball. And I had Layla, my oldest, was a couple years old, and then I got pregnant during coaching season with Nadia and became very, very ill, as a matter of fact. And someone had to take over the rest of the season for me because I was so ill. And it was during that time that my husband, who I know I could not have done this job before the children, during the children, while they were growing up without him, because we were true partners. We had a regimen where, one dropped off the kids, one picked up the kids. I practiced early in the morning when I was coaching, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Some of my players probably, if they watch this, will say, oh, I couldn't stand it. But it was great. It worked for my schedule, and it was also a discipline training for my student athletes because everything happens early in the morning. I've always been an early morning person. So it was a lot. I don't know how I did it, blink back, but I do know I would not have been able to do it had it not been for my husband, Vince, because our partnership is what helped, us really get through it. So I thank him mostly for all of that.
Okay. So shifting gears now to the ceremony itself and the celebration, the CACC. Bloomfield was one of the founding members of the conference itself. You've taken on many roles in the CACC, from treasurer on up and down the administrative ladder. Talk about the importance of the CACC and the partnership with Bloomfield College, being a part of it, and the honor of being inducted into the Hall of Fame.
So, first I want to thank Dan Mara and the whole CACC staff. I remember when Dan was an AD at Post University before becoming our commissioner, and we had gone through a couple commissioners, and it was a very interesting time during that time. But when Dan became our commissioner, he really helped put our conference in a situation where we added members from the South, from the Philly schools who had been separate because we were all NAIA and had transitioned to Division II NCAA. So I'm very thankful to Dan. And the conference meant more than anything to Bloomfield College. It really helped secure not just Bloomfield, a couple of these of our other schools, Caldwell, Dominican, the Georgian Courts, who was one of the members from way back, NIAC, who's no longer with us, the Philly schools, Holy Family. I mean, we are very lucky. We established a Division II conference when there were some other Division II conferences that weren't too keen about us becoming a conference when we made the transition. And we were far behind a lot of those conferences, and now we have worked very hard. And I say we because I always will feel like I'm a part of the CACC with Bloomfield College. And we developed such a strong conference, became more competitive, and I think we've done a really good job to represent not just the CACC, but Division II, NCAA Division II. So I will always be forever grateful for the opportunity to participate, our school to participate, in the CACC. And I'm very, very thankful and honored to even be recognized. People do work all their lives, and a lot of times they don't get recognized, so getting a little emotional about that. But, I was very surprised when Dan called me and he was like, hey, we're gonna, you're getting inducted. And I was like, for what? And he was like, for a player, for, a coach, as an administrator. And yes, I played a lot of roles within the CACC, and I enjoyed every bit of it. So met some good people, some not so good people too. That comes with the territory. But for the most part, it has been 100% the best experience of my career.
You have undeniably touched so many people's lives, from students to co-workers, peers, people that you manage, people that work under you. You've touched so many lives in so many different ways. It's like if you threw a stone into a lake and saw the ripples, that's how many people you've touched, because it just goes on and on. If we talk about your legacy, what would you want to say that your legacy at Bloomfield College has been, and then also your legacy as far as what you've left, the impression you've left on the CACC?
I don't think about what my legacy is, outside of my family, and I don't know what I've left. I think, always treated people the way I want to be treated. And as it relates to the student athletes over the years, time does start to come all together. I remember everyone, and they'll tell you that. And if I forget your name, and that's very seldom, I will remember your face and can tell you what team you played for and who your mama or your daddy is. But when people send their kids to college, you want them to be taken care of. And being a mother, I wanted the same thing for my kids when they went to college. And so I've always treated our students, our staff, the way I want to be treated and the way I would want someone to treat my own children when they go to school. And I think when you have that attitude, it just works out, you know, so well. And so in terms of a legacy, I just want people to, I guess remember me as being a good person, and that I told you at least, I always say this, just if it's one thing that you listen to me, listen to this. You know, I'll have one thing for every single person. Yeah. But it's been fun. Not that I'm retiring yet, but it's been great. And I can't believe where the time has gone.
Yeah. So on December 13th, they will induct you into the CACC Hall of Fame. Just like I said, there's going to be a ton of people that you see that you haven't seen in a long time that made it here to be here for you, right?
Okay.
Just on behalf of those that couldn't make it, couldn't be here that day, I just want to say thank you. Congratulations. This is well deserved. You've earned it. And you've earned it like double. You've double earned it. Like the things that you've done, the people that you've touched, the lives that you've inspired. Just want to say thank you from those who will be here and those who can't be here. And you did an awesome job.
Thank you, Gladstone.
Okay.
All right,
Great
that
job.
was good.
Yes.
Thank you.